Hi, my name is Wes Green, and I'm the Director of Marketing here at PhotoDay.
Hey, I'm Emily. I'm PhotoDay's marketing manager.
Hi, I'm Ryan Dallasay, and I'm the creative director.
Hi, I'm Otolia, and I'm the graphic designer here at PhotoDay.
The main function of marketing here at PhotoDay is to sort of twofold. It's to package up what PhotoDay is and portray it in the most honest and visually appealing manner to not only our own studios, but for studios who might like to use us in the future. But it's also part of communicating the what, why, when, and how of PhotoDay to its users and distributing everything from updates to education and just keeping everyone updated and in the loop of what we are and what we're doing.
The creative department's job is really to help steer the PhotoDay brand. We help come up with the creative ideas that support any marketing initiatives, and then we help bring those ideas to life. Usually that starts with just understanding what the goal is, doing lots of brainstorming and researching, and then we jump into design, where it's not really just about making things look good, but just making sure that everything feels on brand and is consistent. Usually there's a lot of exploration, a lot of iteration, and then we just kind of make sure that it's communicating the way we want it to. We work on all kinds of things, anything from product illustrations to social graphics to building out new sections of the website to editing videos or creating motion graphics. So yeah, even though a lot of what we do ends up looking polished, the real goal is to bring ideas to life and just make sure that every touch point reflects what PhotoDay is all about.
How marketing usually helps our studios achieve success is by facilitating the creation of content that delivers both educational materials to our studios as well as general product and company updates. And that can usually take the form of blog materials, facilitating webinars, usually hosted internally or with studios who have worked closely with us to help deliver their own information, and working in tandem with our studios to help deliver the most relevant information to the industry.
Part of our role as the creative department is, making things look good for sure. But it's also about making sure whatever we create actually means something to studios. We want to clearly show the value of what we're putting out there so studios can basically get excited about it. Whether we're showcasing a new feature or putting a testimonial video out or even creating any educational content. We know the stuff coming out of the marketing and creative team can really help give studios the confidence in our platform and hopefully communicate to them that PhotoDay can really streamline their workflow and make their lives a whole lot easier.
I have limited experience with photography. My background was working adjacent with photographers doing videography, actually. I got my start doing short films, music videos, commercials, and then got into the wedding videography scene. And I ended up very buddy-buddy with the wedding photography side of things. So that was my introduction to the photography industry as a whole. With PhotoDay, that got me introduced to the concept of volume photography, which to me 6 or 7 years ago was a concept that I hadn't really thought about. So it was interesting going from a more intentional wedding industry to volume as a concept.
Yeah, growing up, I was always the kid with a camera. I think my first one was a hand-me-down from my brother, the ones that took like floppy disks, if anyone remembers those. But by early college, I was doing weddings and portraits and kind of never stopped. I did weddings full-time for a few years. Now I mostly capture family portraits and events and maybe a couple weddings here and there. Similar to Wes, I was introduced to the concept of volume through PhotoDay. That was a really fun experience of discovering a whole new side to the photography industry that I had never interacted with. So I definitely think it helps me being a photographer, even if it was in a different market, being able to connect with the studios that we work with here at PhotoDay.
I don't actually come from the volume photography world, but I have worked with photographers, directing photo shoots and video shoots, especially in the advertising space. And even though I wasn't the one behind the camera, it's always cool to see everything that happens off camera, like how photographers connect with people, making them feel comfortable, guiding the energy of the shoot, and just how they solve things on the fly. Seeing that gave me a huge appreciation for the craft. Having that perspective helps me appreciate the work that we do here at PhotoDay with a lot more empathy and intention.
Why I ended up in marketing actually was a little bit of a journey. When I was growing up, I had really no sense of what marketing was. I just knew I was a very precociously creative individual. I liked creating things, whether it was music or writing or very poor graphic design. But I enjoyed doing it. And as I grew up and had more experience creating things professionally, I sort of let it snowball into what became a very unexpected marketing career. I ended up almost unintentionally shoved into it. I didn't go to school for it. I had really no intention of ending up where I ended up. It was really just me following my own passions and creative interests, and it's sort of happening around me. While I am the director of marketing here at PhotoDay, I'm almost surprised that I am, because I've really just been following my own intuition and instinct and working with others on creating things. Really, it's sort of bewildering ending up where I have right now, but I think that almost helps because I'm still just following my own instinct and collaborating with people and working with others to create really, 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 really cool things. And that's what means the most to me. Each day I go into this in my position with that mindset.
So I've always been passionate about stories. A love for reading developed into a love for writing, which in a roundabout way led me to photography. I've always gone back and forth between writing for a living and taking photos for a living. I think working here at PhotoDay is a really unique culmination of those two life paths for me, especially since so much of our marketing is sharing the stories of our studios. That's been really cool.
I just get a lot of fulfillment out of having a vision in my head and figuring out how to actually bring it to life. Whether that means learning something new or figuring out the technical side of it, or in marketing, really understanding how to communicate a message. For me, the passion comes from the effort that it takes to make something real. And what's awesome about PhotoDay is that the whole team shares that same mindset. It feels like we're building something that actually matters and something that's making a real impact for our users. And that's what keeps me excited.
Well, I've always loved being in a creative field and working here. There's something incredibly fulfilling about finding unique and engaging ways to bring our brand to life, whether it's in our campaigns, product launches, or how we can tell the story of our users in a fun and meaningful way. It's great.
Marketing means to me representing your brand, company, yourself in the most honest way possible. It's not putting on pretenses. It's not pretending to be something that you're not, whether, again, yourself or your own company or the company that you work for. It's distilling the culture that comes from your product and that surrounds the philosophy of product design, how employees at PhotoDay get along with each other, the general vibe around the company. It all ties hand in hand together. Marketing here is about summarizing that entire vibe into one cohesive entity and presenting that to the outside world in the most coherent manner possible.
Marketing to me means telling an honest story about your company or brand. I think marketing as a word can definitely have a negative connotation sometimes, just because it's attached to the multitude of ads we see and sponsored posts on social and just the overall theme of hyper consumerism, which isn't something really I connect to or want to encourage, but thankfully it's not really PhotoDay's approach in any way. We only succeed if our users succeed. There are no gimmicks or predatory pricing or even fine print. And I think most of our marketing content boils down to sharing new features, how they can help your business, and sharing real life impact through the stories of our users. And that just has always connected to me even before I was a part of telling those stories in PhotoDay, just looking out or looking in from the outside. So I think marketing, just boils down to being honest and sharing the stories about yourself and the people using your platform.
What branding means to me is It's not necessarily our logo and our colors and our typeface and the images and illustrations. It's more of the perception that you, as our audience, has of Photo Day. And of course, we intentionally work to guide where we want our brand to be perceived as. I think a lot of what a brand is should be reflective of who we are authentically. So, as we're constantly thinking about our brand, we're really thinking about how everything we create adds up to the feeling that people walk away with, so that their experience with Photo Day aligns with who we are and what we stand for.
I feel like the branding is a pretty essential part of this company. It's how we stand out and how we present ourselves, the personality and the values of the company. I always like to keep that in mind and ensure that we present ourselves in a way that not only resonates with our users, but also makes us recognizable in the industry.
My own personal passions are anything creative. I am heavily into music. I am heavily into writing, filmmaking. And what I do here at PhotoDay takes a little bit from each of those, if not directly. It's very adjacent to my own passions, where I feel like I'm using the same creative muscles that I use in my spare time for fun here at PhotoDay, and being able to apply it to what we're trying to create here. I feel like I'm in a very lucky position where I still feel like I'm creating something of my own volition and it being a representation of what we're trying to do here at PhotoDay.
Yeah, so outside of work, I spend most of my time reading, writing, or spending time in nature. So stories are still a constant theme, whether it's the stories of others in books, my own experiences with writing, or the story of our environments. And I do feel lucky that those passions get to fit into my day-to-day work here at PhotoDay as well.
Outside of Photo Day, I'm always creating something, whether it's mixing music or when I was dancing or designing things to 3D print or experimenting with all of the new tools. There's never really an off switch for me. And creativity all blends together, which I think helps bring more of me into the work I do here at Photo Day.
I've always loved creating different forms of art and exploring how visuals influence emotions in some way. So it's been pretty rewarding to collaborate with our team and our studios to kind of share their stories and also make it look really nice too.
When marketing gets positive feedback from studios, it's very, very satisfying. And it's funny because usually you don't receive direct feedback on marketing. It's usually the concept that's communicated. Yeah, it's about what product or what feature you're communicating or what emotion you're trying to convey. Very rarely do you have someone come out and say, oh, PhotoDay's marketing is amazing. And it's just that's just not something that happens usually in reality. It's more about making sure that the message that we're trying to communicate to our studios is coming across clearly and is making people excited. And when people get excited, that is a enormously satisfying feeling.
Yeah, hearing positive feedback feels fantastic, of course. I mean, so much of PhotoDay's focus is on how we can help improve photographers' lives. So when we hear that that mission is being achieved, it really is the best motivation.
Whenever we hear any positive feedback from studios about our marketing or our creative or the PhotoDay brand, it really just reminds me that the work we're doing here is actually making a difference and it's helping real people do exactly what they love. I absolutely love it.
It's always really exciting. It's always great to know that what you create matters and it's positively impacting their life and their jobs and their businesses. So it's always great.
The general consistent day-to-day here at PhotoDay looks like working with leadership and other departments to set the direction for marketing for PhotoDay, making sure it's in line with what the product department wants to do, what customer success wants to do, and how they want to communicate to studios. So we work hand in hand with those departments to make sure that what we're creating is in line with what the whole wants to create. So my day-to-day is a lot of communicating with other departments, syncing up with them, making sure that what we are doing is consistent with company goals, and communicating with the rest of the team to make sure everything is getting done as wished by everyone else in the company.
My day-to-day usually includes a mix of writing and project managing. So from prepping new feature release announcements to writing for our emails, blogs, social posts, etc., to helping organize all of our tasks and timelines. So we move pretty fast here. So there's usually a fun, constantly changing mix of tasks. But I think there's a lot of crossover for most departments. Maybe we take the cake. I don't know. That's hard to say. But from collaborating with customer success to create educational resources, running live webinars, etc., to working with product and engineering for feature releases and product improvements. For being such a small group, our team does have a unique role of helping each department communicate and connect with our end users and customers.
Honestly, my day-to-day is pretty much all over the place in a good way. Some days it's high-level stuff like brand strategy or design systems thinking. And other days I'm deep into video editing, animation, building out new pages on the marketing site, or creating graphics for social or product visuals. I'm also usually bouncing ideas back and forth with Atilia or giving her feedback on designs that she's working on. Once a week, we meet up with the product design team just to stay in sync, get a feel for what's going on in the product, and make sure everything feels cohesive between product and marketing. I'm also checking in with different team leads here and there to stay plugged in. So yeah, no 2 days are exactly the same, but at the end of the day, it's all about making sure that the brand feels intentional, connected, and true to who we are.
So I usually start my day by reviewing what designs are needed from me. I have a task list and I prioritize based off of deadlines. I'll send in any final items to review and work on any adjustments that may be needed. I feel like there's always something going on and requests kind of come in from different areas of the company, but I do feel like we have a great constant communications with the other teams. We're always aligning on certain releases with product, fulfilling any creative requests they may need. Feel like we also support sales and CS with any internal things they may need, whether it's branding materials, any assets for newsletters, or any assets for any of the support articles that are going out. So it's busy, but it's like a good constant work.
The most rewarding part of working in marketing at PhotoDay is just seeing large, multifaceted projects come together. Seeing something that only existed in your imagination, or seeing something that existed only as an offhand idea, either from yourself or from another department or from leadership, and it evolving over the course of time with collaboration within the marketing and creative team or with other departments, and just seeing how that collaboration works to draw all those different disparate parts together into this final product. And that is always enormously satisfying to see, whether it's something as banal as a series of feature release announcements or a webinar or a newsletter, or something as huge as PDA week. So it's very, very satisfying to see that come together.
And the first thing that comes to mind as being the most rewarding part of working in marketing is the studio success stories that we get to hear and share. There's nothing more rewarding than hearing how people's lives and businesses are improved and knowing that we played a role in that. Plus, then we get to share those stories and hopefully impact even more people. And it's a really fun, rewarding cycle to see a feature go from an idea to being used effectively in the wild.
I'd say the most rewarding part about working in the marketing and creative department is honestly just the people. When everyone's working towards the same vision, it gives everything we do a lot more meaning. It makes it easier to trust each other, to bounce ideas around, and just keep moving things forward in a way that feels true to who we are. At the end of the day, it's less about checking off projects and more about building something together that we're proud of, and knowing that the impact that we're making actually reflects us as a team.
I feel like our team's a pretty huge part of it. We have an incredible team dynamic, but I also love seeing the difference we make in people's lives. The stories we hear every day are super inspiring. I feel like we've built such an amazing community where we celebrate each other's accomplishments. It's great to hear about where we started and how far we've come, not just in this company, but also where our studios are and how they're growing.
The company culture of PhotoDay is definitely reflected in our brand and our messaging Pretty directly, actually. I mean, at our core, we are very fun, kind of weird, goofy, creative people. I mean, not even just in marketing and creative. That goes all the way up the ladder and across departments. We definitely all get along with a very consistent vibe, and it's a very much a supportive, celebratory atmosphere here at PhotoDay internally, and that is definitely something that we try to spread to our studios through our own messaging. Our marketing is very intentionally very supportive, positive, uplifting, fun, funny, a little out of left field sometimes, and that is a direct reflection of who we are as a team.
Yeah, I feel like PhotoDay's identity is directly reflected in our branding, and that's very intentional. We try to keep it relevant and approachable without falling into any trends necessarily that don't feel true to us. We're all pretty quirky here, so we try to keep things personable and creative. Yeah, I think Brian and Natalia have done such an incredible job reflecting the culture, vibe, and values of PhotoDay into our visual branding.
I think PhotoDay's brand really reflects who we are as a company because it's built around the same culture we have internally. This idea of capturing more together. It's not just about taking more photos or making more sales or getting back more time. It's about creating more opportunities, building more connections, and helping studios and customers have better experiences. The way we work as a team, collaborating, sharing ideas, and supporting each other really shows up in how we present ourselves to the world. It's all about doing more together. And I think that comes through in both our company culture and in our brand.
I feel like we're known for standing out and being different from others in the industry. Everything we do is designed to be fun and engaging while still maintaining credibility and trust. We make sure our brand reflects that energy in everything that we put out. I feel like we focus heavily on education and community-driven engagement, whether it's through our webinars, Facebook Lives, our blogs. I feel like we provide valuable content beyond promoting features. We emphasize how these features help solve business challenges and share success stories and testimonials from photographers. I feel like we don't really see a lot of that in the industry, and I feel like the stories kind of speak for themselves. I feel like one of the biggest challenges is the hesitant to change. I know everything is online nowadays, so many studios might not have all the resources at their disposal, and they have very traditional methods. I hope that we could be that resolve and provide resources and strategies that make marketing feel more approachable and beneficial to them.
I think our approach to marketing has always been very unique in that it's so user-focused and we try to stay down to earth. So being approachable is key, and thankfully that comes very naturally to our team. We're all a mix of creatives, small business owners, industry professionals, and we really just have to remember our roots and find ways to connect with others who can benefit from the platform. Along those same lines, marketing to photographers requires striking that balance between approachable and friendly and knowledgeable industry experts who have done the research, development, and implementation to keep the industry moving forward. And I think we're always looking for ways to keep it real and fun while taking our work and our users really seriously.
What's unique about marketing PhotoDay to its audience is that volume in itself is a finite entity. It's not like marketing with other companies where there is a potential infinite audience that you can try to appeal to. There's only so many people in the United States that have the ability to pick up a camera and do the amazing things that volume photographers do every day. It's not about converting people who've never picked up a camera before. It's about communicating with an existing finite audience of volume photographers and showing them that what we are doing for the volume industry and trying to convince them what we feel is a revolutionary way to do things as compared to how the industry was for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. We really, truly feel like we have developed something revolutionary for the volume industry. Over time and iterations, communicating that concept to the volume audience.